In 1983, my younger brother was playing soccer and fractured his leg. After setting his leg and after multiple surgeries, he ended up having a staph infection. The staph infection almost cost him his limb, and this was something that was acquired at the hospital as he was a patient. It was only through the expertise and training of a skilled surgeon was he able to keep his leg and continue on with a normal life. I bring this up because right now in the United States, hospital-acquired infections is a big issue. It is costing the country billions of dollars, causing the cost of healthcare to be driven upward and making the beds and the facilities where we stay not safe. All of us are touched by hospital-acquired infections. We either ourselves, families, friends, relatives, somebody will be exposed to hospital-acquired infections at one point or another. These bacteria include Staphylococcus aureus, which is shortened to MRSA, which is a resistant strain of staph to any sort of antibiotic. Also C. diff, and there are other bacteria out there that are hurting the human race and hurting the United States healthcare system. I'm a regional sales manager for a company that has a new technology that physically kills the bacteria that cause staph and MRSA, C. diff, ringworm, norovirus, H1N1, many of the harmful bacteria that's out there right now. And this is something that this technology has been welcomed so far by a few healthcare facilities, long-term care facilities, school districts, gymnasiums, homeless shelters, correctional facilities, because this is an issue that is continually increasing. My partner and I were the first ones to have a contract at a U.S.-based hospital, the Kahuku Medical Center in Hawaii. This was a hospital that was shut down for infection prevention reasons and had to be run by a state agency in order for them to serve their community. When we ran into them, they were doing everything they could based on their protocols and regulations to keep their hospital clean, but they were still getting infections and driving the cost of healthcare up. This little hospital on the North Shore of Oahu ended up costing them almost $250,000 a year to treat these infections, to have them, well, number one, to treat the infections that was acquired in their facility, and number two, extra labor used to have to clean the facility as well. So it was just really a waste of time and money for them. The nature of the bacteria and the issue that is bringing to U.S. healthcare, according to statistics by the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, right now annually there are over 2 million patients infected with hospital-acquired infections. 90,000 of those patients will die. And it's costing right now U.S. healthcare between $28 and $45 billion to the cost of healthcare. And we've seen an increase in the last 20 years of 36% to these hospital-acquired infections. Right now, the issue that we've had is that in the last, like I said, in 20 years there's been a 36% increase. A lot of that can be traced to the fact that the people are companies, chemical companies are saying you can clean and disinfect in one step. And as our company and our technology has grown, we found that is just not true. There's an old saying that you can't sanitize poop. You got to clean the surface and then sanitize. You got to clean the item and then sanitize the surface. And so one reason for the increase in hospital-acquired infections is the fact that we're leaving bacteria on the surface and allowing it to grow, to mutate, and to change. And one thing we found from this hospital that we went in to clean at Kahuku was the fact that, we found out the difference between a chemical kill and a physical kill. As we saw these people cleaning the rooms, Again, this is a reference from Infection Control Today. They're an online website. You know, as they were cleaning the bacteria, they would put them just in a chemical kill instead of a physical kill, and I'll come back to that a little bit later. But that's important to know, because as these are smart bugs, super bugs that we're dealing with. So as we went into the Kahuku Medical Center, we found out that they had a high infection rate. You had a 1 in 5 chance of getting a hospital-acquired infection just by going in to visit, or being admitted to that hospital. That is along the same lines of socialized medicine up in Canada. It's costing the hospital money, because not only were their beds being filled by people who got sick in their facilities, they had to pay for that treatment to have them recover. We found that solutions were not being used properly. A lot of the chemicals that they were using were being mixed improperly. They were not using the proper protocols and equipment to get it clean, and it was just no wonder bacteria was growing. We found terry cloths rather than microfiber. We found mop buckets where the water was being used in the restroom and then being used out in the hallways and in the patient areas. It's just a lot of things that were allowing bacteria to incubate in the facility. As we went around the hospital to see how clean their facility was, we used an ATP meter, which allows us to count the number of bacteria on a certain surface. It doesn't tell us what bacteria is on that surface, just tells us that it is there. And on these ATP meters, we found bacteria counts. Well, anything above 50 is considered dirty. Anything above 200 is considered contaminated. And we found counts between 300 and 1,000 at this hospital. After we instituted the new cleaning solutions and the new cleaning protocols, we found that their absenteeism went down, their bacteria rates went down, and their quality rating went up in the community. So what we did, we went in and we changed the terry cloth towels to microfiber towels. We taught them the proper sequence of how to clean a room from the inside out as you leave, so you're not spreading bacteria around the room. We were making sure that the protocols and the mixing solutions were mixed properly, and we, again, after changing all those things, changed the solution, changed the cleaning protocols, changed the cloths with which they used to clean. We went around and did another bacteria swab with our ATP meters, and while their supply costs went up by 10%, their full-time savings decreased by 25%. I should say full-time equivalents, which means that what used to take them an hour now only took them 45 minutes, and they were able to clean the facility more effectively, and allowed them, again in their words, that extra 2 hours a day, 15 minutes an hour for an 8-hour day. It allowed them to do building maintenance rather than just be scrubbing toilets and mopping floors. They were very happy. We changed their cleaning solution to electrolyzed water, empowered water. This is a solution where you can customize your pH levels, customize your free available chlorine. It's non-hazardous, non-toxic, and is a much more effective kill. And as I talk about the physical kill and the chemical kill, this is where I'm coming back to from earlier. What we found was a chemical kill is just putting the bacteria into a coma, and these are smart bugs, and it ends up learning to eat what's killing it, and it mutates into something stronger. A physical kill is actually penetrating the cell wall of the bacteria and eliminating it permanently. And so as we instituted all these changes, we were able to show them, number one, that the solutions they were using were EPA registered. They were registered with the state of Hawaii as a disinfectant, and were non-hazardous. And we took all our swabs and plated bacteria back to a lab for a study. What we found in that study was there was a 96% reduction in bacteria overall in the facility, Time savings of 25%, like we mentioned earlier. There were less workman's comp claims, which saved the hospital money. Less absenteeism for their employees, which saved them money. And we had also a statistician report that attributes 97%, with a 97% efficiency, that these gains were, well, it's a 97% probability that all these improvements were the result of the changes that we made in their protocol and cleaning solutions. We've saved the hospital many dollars every year, and they installed in 2009, and as of 2018 they've had 0 readmissions for hospital-acquired infections. So for 9 years they've gone from being the dirtiest hospital in Hawaii to now being the gold standard by which everybody else is measured. These bugs are smart and super, but humans are smarter and more super, and we need to identify places where we can improve, have the courage to adapt, change, and become more effective as an industry, and I look forward to everybody's feedback. Thanks.